Hi, I'm Aubrie Green. So I grew up in Idaho. There's not really a whole lot of racing over there. We used to have like a summer track that ran quarter horses and thoroughbreds in Boise. It was called Aubrie Park, but they closed that down the first year that I started riding. So I actually didn't even know that there was horse racing around Idaho until I was 27 years old. so but I got started by accident. I was riding my own horse in a stock saddle race, just like a 3/8 mile race for a posse that I was riding in, and kind of fell into it. A trainer saw me riding that horse, wanted to take him to the fair, and that's how I found out about racing in Idaho and got started. Well, in a quarter horse race, it's really about getting them out the gate, getting a clean break, and keeping them straight, going as fast as you can. They usually don't have races around the turn unless you're doing an 870, which I rode a couple of those, but back when I was riding quarter horses. And when you get into the thoroughbred racing, there's a lot more strategy involved. You want to look at the other speed in the race. If you're going to have a horse that's in front of you that's going to stop in front of you, because you can jockey for position in thoroughbred racing, where in quarter horse racing, there's not a whole lot of jockeying for position. You just got to maintain your lane for the most part. So, but when you're wanting to get into the route racing, whether it's the dirt or the turf, get in a good position, knowing who you're following, or if you're going to be on the lead, if you're, you want to be able to rate your horse, get him to relax. So it's a whole different ballgame when you're on thoroughbreds. So after I started riding in Idaho and Wyoming on those quarter horses, I rode a few thoroughbreds. I went to Turf Paradise to kind of get my bug started, which is the apprenticeship. And I had kind of taught myself up to that point how to ride. I didn't have anybody showing me any of the tricks or, just little subtle things that help in a race. So when I got to Turf Paradise, I made plenty of mistakes, got myself into some hairy situations, and got schooled by the jocks a little bit. And Isaias Enriquez actually came and helped me build an equicizer. We built an equicizer together, and he started teaching me. He became my mentor. So he showed me a lot of things like how to throw across and some relaxing techniques and things to do if a horse is getting out or, if they're lugging in. Just lots of little details that I didn't know, that I didn't have any direction when I first started. And after about 2 months of that meet, I started putting things together and winning races and really got rolling. And then that's when I came to Louisiana, and I've been here ever since. So I was riding for a guy named Travis Lusk. He is a quarter horse trainer back in Idaho, and he actually helped me get my license. I was exercising horses for him and using my pony in his barn. And She Pays Dividends was a gate flipper. So she went in a rig, a flipping halter. And I didn't know anything when I started riding, I knew so little. So this is my fourth race I'm going into, and they're like, oh yeah, this horse goes in a rig. So what the heck is a rig?
What is a rig?
What does
it do?
It's a halter that hooks into the gate so that if the horse tries to flip, they can't flip over. And when the gate's open, it releases from the bridle. So it's really useful on horses, especially quarter horses that want to flip over or have a tendency to do that. So I had to load first. I was really nervous about this rig because I'd never seen anything like it. And I'd only actually been out of the gates at that point 6 times, because I only came out of the gates twice before I got my license and rode races. So, it was really exciting, though, the first race that I won. I mean, I really don't think that I did as much as I thought at the time to help that horse win. I just was a passenger hanging on, but I was exhilarated. I was so excited. So to prepare for the races, what I usually do is I like to print off the past performances on the horses that I'm going to ride and the other horses in the race. And the night before, I'll just go over the races and I'll see, if it's a claiming race, who's dropping from a higher claim or from allowance races, who's speed, who comes from off the pace, who's going to stop if they go to the lead, just to have an idea how the race is going to play out and what position I'm going to try to put myself in. And as far as the surfaces, it's the tracks change from day to day. Depending on the weather, and if the turf is going to change from day to day based on where the rail is, how much we've been running on it. So I just kind of have to take an idea of how the races have been all week long on the turf, and is it chewed up? Is it going to be better on the outside? And try and go from there.
Those videos on TVG you said are pretty helpful too for that.
Yeah, and I watch all of the races on my horses that I'm going to ride the next day. So I watch the races that they placed third or better. If they haven't placed third or better, then I just watch the races where they've placed their best.
Well, I watched that race at Louisiana Moon before her last win. I could see you had the right spot for her there.
Yeah, I like that horse.
Good horses.
So over my career, I've had a few horses that have been really, really important to me. Rusalka was one of the first ones, and it was actually coming off of my bug year. I came to the fairgrounds to get my career rolling, and I won I can't even remember what kind of race it was, but for me it was huge, and I won the race on Rusalka. It was a maiden race. Don't know if it was maiden special weight or claiming. And I won it at the wire by a nose, closing, and outrode one of the boys. So I felt pretty happy about that race, and I continued to ride her throughout her career, and won several races on her. It just became really, important to me. And so she is a mom now. She's up in Kentucky, and pound for pound, obviously anybody who knows me knows. Pound for pound, he's my baby, he's my big stake horse, and I've had a really great run with him. He just retired, and he's going to be a daddy, so that's great too. And then this year, I've actually gotten really close to this little claimant horse that I ride regularly. His name's Nosy Banker. And I don't know why, he runs good for me, We had a hard time figuring him out. I rode him last spring, his first out, second out, and he kept doing silly things, lugging in, or just at the head of the lane, he would just do something goofy to get himself beat. So I finally got him to break his maiden last spring. He had a little bit of time off this summer, and then come back here, and I've won 3 races on him. So it's been a really good run with him too.
Yeah, I've seen those 3 races, and he might be the leading winner at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, he's doing really good.